So our next session is by Aparna, Vadala and Sandhya Lakshmi on sustainability agility. I hope you all had a great lunch and are ready for another session. Our speakers, Aparna and Sandhya, will be discussing sustainability agility. Agility is critical, but it needs to be sustainable to be effective in long term. So I welcome Aparna and Sandhya on stage.
Thank you. We'll start here. Yeah. Hey all, good afternoon. Hope you all had some scrumptious lunch and please do not sleep. We'll try to keep as engaged as possible from our side. So myself, Sandhya, Sandhya Lakshmi. I currently work as an release train engineer in S&P Global. Overall, I carry 15 plus years of experience and I'm a core Agile practitioner from almost 13 years of overall experience. But I would also like to know myself as a very strong woman and a mother, where my daughter wished me that she is very proud of me talking today. So just thinking about on her note, I wanted to start the session today. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandhya. Hi, everyone. I'm Aparna Vadala, and I do have around 17 plus years of experience. I started my career as developer, then worked as technical lead, technical program manager, and for personal reasons, I took career break in between, and that made me think about the people, how I can become empathetic and moved into agile roles. I worked as a transmission coach, agile coach, and now presently I'm working as RT, release train engineer at S&P Global Ratings Division. So with that, I'm just hearing for last 2 days, like lot of sessions on technology and how the technology is evolving, right? How fast paced it is evolving. Take it from AI, right? We are speaking about lot of AI today, and yesterday also lot of sessions on AI. So with technology being evolving, what is happening is like what we heard for last 2 days, like organizations, their landscape on technology is also expanding. Like how organizations are looking at the technology landscape across, they are expanding in fast pace, right? So when the landscape is expanding, what they are looking at is the productivity, right? That's what we are looking at. All the sessions what we heard till date is all about the productivity and time to market. X to 10x or X to 100x, that's what we are looking at, right? Like when you're speaking about productivity and time to market, what is that lying beneath? Probably in the iceberg, you are seeing the tip as productivity, but what is lying in beneath, right? Underneath. So that is what is we are speaking about today, that is sustainability, right? So productivity is very, very important, but at the same time, the sustainability. Time to market is very, very important, but at the same time, the adaptability and the durability of those products that we are delivering or developing. So that is what we are going to speak about today. With that, Sandhya, when we say sustainability, right, what comes to your mind?
Yeah, so since I started my note with my daughter, right, so I'll connect it back. It is about how responsibly we live today so that we can give our future generations that they could live their life so that they can meet their own needs. Not really living on artificial pills or, oxygen cylinders. It's not that, right? We want them also to have a sustainable life. So to me, I want to live as responsible as possible, that I want to give the future generations a quality of life. For me, that is sustainability.
Yeah. So when we speak about sustainability, the Sandhya's example is speaking about the social sustainability, right? How sustainable we are when we are speaking about people. So when it comes to social or people sustainability, what comes to our mind? It is about people well-being, how people are looked, right? Diversity, inclusion, the bias that we are discussing in today's morning session, right? How biased we are presently and where we are taking our world to be, right? So it is not only on the bias on the gender, but there are many different biases that we speak about, right? The cultural biases that we speak about and the language bias that we speak about. So the social sustainability speaking about how we are giving the well-being to the people, how we are having the diversity, equality and inclusion in the organizations when we are speaking on the organization side. With that, we are keeping it social here. We know what is social responsibility is, but at the same time, the next comes is the environment and planet sustainability. So Sandhya, over to you on environment and planet sustainability.
Yeah, so environment and planet, that's not new to us, right? We have been, the moment we say sustainability, we're talking about IT, sustainability in IT now, but environment sustainability, we have been hearing it for a while now. There are so many organizations that have been running so many social activist programs to ensure that we preserve our environment and planet. We are going to dig a little deeper on how IT can enable environment sustainability. I mean, there was a great base set yesterday by Sapna Gover and Rituraj Patel where they have touch based upon, how our power consumptions, like, the products that we are developing, how much of the power consumption is impacting environment, how much of our servers have been emitting carbon emissions, right? All those things are also contributing to the environment. While all of us are very conscious, we are growing plants at our home. I know we are ensuring that the forests have been grown upon, but it's also important because let's say 70% of the day we are into our work life, right? How are we ensuring sustainability through our work is also what contributes to environment sustainability.
Yeah. When we are looking at social and environment, the prioritization comes on economic sustainability also, right? What is economic sustainability? So when we are looking at the finances of the organizations, when they are using the technology, as I mentioned, the technology landscape is growing or it is expanding. Like what is the financial sustainability that they are looking over there? So even if you see after 10 years or after 15 years, how safe the organizations are from their finances front, how they are growing on their finances, that is helping the growth of the countries. That is what is very important. That back coming to the people, how they are growing the finances of the people. So that is where the economic sustainability is coming in. But at the same time, right, when we are speaking about economic sustainability here, the innovation comes in picture, the data security comes in picture, how the organizations are looking at their finances growing up, but at the same time, how the data is secured, the innovation, the technology, how they are utilizing the technology to come into economic sustainability is what we are going to look around. But as we speak here, right, we are taking notes from all other sessions that happened yesterday and today also. When we are speaking about AI, when we are speaking about the technology is growing, that is the economical sustainability is growing in a faster pace. With the same pace is social sustainability or the environment sustainability is also growing is the fact that we need to check back, right? So the sustainability as in when we see three of them together, what is the balance between them? What is the effective balance between them? That is what is the overall sustainability when we see across the globe. So that is what is impacting all the social, environment and economical sustainability as together.
So, well said, Aparna. So, while we want everything to be sustainable, again, ensuring that, we deliver more with less resources is what is the key in any aspect, right? Be it people, environment, or economic. So, maintaining a balance across these three is what gives us a secured future in all other aspects. So, it's a holistic prospect across all three. So today we will dwell more into, we are talking about stability. Now in an organization, stability at various levels, right? Not just technology. Now we will talk about stability at an organizational level, that is at a strategic theme level, how organizations can think on, we know during a funding or something, a lot of strategic themes gets funded for an organization. How sustainability have to be kept in mind during the organizational strategic theme definitions itself. And the more important is cultural stability, more to do with the people, with the finances, and overall how an organization can sustain culturally. And among everyone, not last but the least, all of these things gets executed by the teams. So how is that our teams have to be sustainable? We'll dig a little deeper into these concepts.
Yeah. So as we mentioned that the entire organization sustainability depends on three items. Let us focus on strategical themes first, right? Like if you are looking at the strategical themes, I'll just go back on the standards that are set, right? ISSB, as in like International Sustainable Standards Board, they have set certain standards for all the organizations or the corporates. When they are giving the reports, they can follow these standards. So these are the standards that they have set, and there are many organizations across globe who already adapted them or who are planning to adapt now or who are going to adapt, right? You can see the statistics over there. The dark green one are showing the adopted ones, then plans to adopt, and other organizations which are looking to adopt them in the future. So what they are doing is, whenever these organizations, whichever are adapting the ISSB, they would be next. They would be disclosing on their standards and sustainability. So when they are disclosing their standards and sustainability, they are taking up around 8 factors into that. So we'll quickly go on those factors. The first factor is on the social, right? So when we say social, how inclusive or how diversity, equality, and inclusion is working for those organizations. What are the initiatives that these organizations are taking in the DEI perspective? Right, at the same time, how the talent is being attracted, and once the talent is into the organization, how they are developing the talent. It is very, very important to develop the talent with the upcoming technology, right? The technology is evolving also, that social, the people talent should be, or the development should be planned. So how the organizations are planning the development. So these are the two parts of the social. When we connect back to the first slide on the social, the organizations are doing those disclosures, and the companies are looking at those disclosures when they are doing even the credit analysis of that particular organization. At the same time, when we are looking at the remaining factors like economic and environment, right? When we are coming to economical, they call it as governance. Even if you go and search in Google, it is called as ESG, environment, social, and governance, right? So when it comes to governance, that is economical. So what they are looking is business ethics, how ethical the organization is, and what is the integrity of the organization, right? At the same time, the data security, the cyber security and data privacy. It is very, very, very important to have the data privacy and the security. We are speaking how AI uses the data, how LLMs are using the data, but what is the data privacy or the security that they are providing? The organization is looking for the data privacy of the people's data that they are collecting when they are using these LLMs, right? So that is what they are looking at when they are looking at the disclosures. The third thing is, again, innovation, innovation, and innovation. So everybody is looking at the innovation and how people are innovating within that organization, or how the organization is providing opportunities for the people to innovate, right? That is one more disclosure that they are looking at. And coming on to the environment part, right? You can see here climate change, right? What is the carbon footprint of the organization, or how the climate change they are impacting? Or there is another model like SBTI. Our organization, they are part of SBTI. Science-based targets, that's what they call it. So what they do has, they have certain set of rules saying that 2050 or 2030, we will be having certain percentage of GHG, right? Greenhouse gases, how much we are reducing them, emission of them, right? 2050, the organization should be aiming at 0% of GHG. We are looking into those climate changes, and we are looking into how we are reducing the climate changes, or how we are seeing the impact of the climate changes and reducing the GHG accordingly, right? So that is what is on the environmental, and also using the natural resources wherever possible, reducing on how we are impacting the biodiversity, we are reducing on the impact on the biodiversity. So these are some things that we have taken from our organization, being a, we do a credit analysis kind of thing, and here you can see one of the chart here showing we take the historical data of climate changes happening for last 50 years. We do analysis of the data, and we estimate, like we anticipate what would be the 20 years next to us, and how climate is going to change next 20 years for us. And what is the impact of that change on the economical growth or finances, right? So these three are very, very interlinked, but just giving an example showing here how our strategical teams would be looking into, right? When we are saying the strategical teams, it would be again sitting at the social side or economical side or environment side.
So we have seen at an organizational level, certain standards have to be maintained either by ISSB. Those are at a very high level strategic themes, right? But while those are set yearly, or we kind of measure them, statistical them, and for the future predictions, what is that we directly on day-to-day basis can help to impact those metrics? One, product lifecycle. Yesterday, we have attended some really great sessions on product, right? How AI impacts product, how our product lifecycle should be, or what should our product managers even think of the requirements like. So a little more insight on that is in the entire product lifecycle. I'm not going to go on what our product lifecycle is. I'm sure all of us are aware of all the phases of ideation, development, testing. So just in all those phases, right? Scrum, right from the framework definition, we have been conscious as Agile practitioners to ensure that there is sustainability imbibed in every aspect. Like let's say, for example, our iterative developments. One things are like if you are from the product, we use a lot of techniques like Gemba walks. We want to understand the customer before we build any product. So there is a thin line, like there is something called customization versus standardization. So standardization is something that the companies define some protocols. We want to ensure that, we are sticking to that protocols during our product life cycle. But at the same time, if we go hard on the standardization, what happens to the customer requirements, right? Customer requirements are very varied. You cannot say our company protocol does not allow this. We have to be, because the product has to be sustainable end of the day. If we give what we want, customer would never accept. So something comes called as a customization. So we wanted to give customer also a customized product on what he needs. Now, we cannot again customize like however each client wants, right? So there is always a balance that we want to find between customization and standardization. So when we are talking about sustainability, it is always about balance. You cannot go on either extremities. Any aspect, you have to find a balance in between and try to deliver in that. Let's take an example of ideation or innovation phase, right? Now we are starting a product development. In the ideation phase, make sure your architecture is not over-engineered, because we know the more complicated we make, it leaves a very hard carbon footprint. The amount of data you collect, where you are storing the data, how you are maintaining those data servers, how much of power consumption goes into it, we'll have to make sure that all of this is considered into account during your product ideation phase itself. Now coming to the development phase, make sure your code is again not equally complicated, make sure it is loosely coupled. I understand few companies have regulations on that, but as much possible, let's try to be loosely coupled so that we leave an area for customization, right? End of the day, that's what we want to. Now, when we are also marketing, market as a sustainable product, because the entire market is moving towards sustainability. Like how we are talking about technology, we also hear governments offering a lot of subsidies or discounts or a lot of benefits for the companies who actually follow the sustainabilities. So the more we incorporate sustainabilities into our products, the more we can market and sell it. That also helps in economic stability of an organization.
So with that, I'll give one example from yesterday's Ruturaj's discussion, right? Whoever is in this room, you may be knowing about that. So he gave an example of Zerodha versus Grow, right? Zerodha is something that we are admiring, but with Grow coming in, Zerodha is going low, right? So why is that? So as Sandhya mentioned here, the design or the importance of how we are designing the loosely coupled. At the same time, that is where we, in the first slide, we told the time to market versus the durability and adaptability, right? So when you are in the design phase itself, what you can do is you can make it very, very loosely coupled, or you can understand what is the fixed part versus variable part in the design, so that you know that certain thing, even if the market trends are changing, if in the future you need to change the product itself, your product is ready to change. It is not so much customized that it is not ready to change, right? So you know that you are changing the product, you know that the market trends are very, very quickly shifting. So you are building a product in a way that your design is adaptable. Your design is durable, at the same time it is adaptable, right? In that example of Zerodha and Grow, if Zerodha is adaptable, they can adapt the change. You know the Nokia scenario, everyone, right? Like Nokia was there, like it just moved away. We know that why, because it is not adaptable. So we say that when you are designing, the sustainability for design is to make it adaptable, right? So with that, we will quickly go on the sustainable team agility.
Yeah, thank you. So again, I'll not go into the picture. We are very, very well aware of that picture of, our 2 sprint cycle on iterative and incremental development, right? So again, what I was referring to earlier about Scrum being very conscious about it from the period of inception itself, about putting it into the planning. We want it to be iterative. We want the deliveries to be incremental. We have implemented CI/CDs so that, all the deployments are sustainable. But I want to touch base on on the concept that, all of these, who does that? Who implements all of this? It's team. So what more important is, while focusing at a very higher level leadership on the strategic themes, product focusing on the product life cycle, equally the team's environment is very important, so that whatever the framework suggests, it's end of the day, how we execute is what matters. We could define n number of things, but how we actually execute is what matters. So make sure the social aspect of the sustainability is what we maintain at a team level. Make sure the team gets a safe environment. Make sure they know that they can talk honestly and openly. Make sure they get enough resources, upskilling, and everything available for them to execute in the framework that we have provided. So ensure that even at a team level, team is all. I know the companies these days have been going through a lot of variations. Scrum suggests 5, 8 to 10 members, and we want the teams to be constant and work have to be rotated. But we see that, on ground, usually we see teams getting moved across, right? It is not work that is coming to teams. People are moving to teams. That's exactly what Scrum really do not want, because that's where we are breaking the entire team's trust, right? We have put a lot of effort they have put together in forming a team. So that's something, if we are as a leaders in team, if we can influence leadership, we should try to reduce that disruption. Make sure the teams are consistent so that they can work together. So that's how we have to make sure that, social sustainability aspect is preserved in the team agility.
Yeah. As we spoke about what exactly it is, how teams are working towards sustainability, how organizations, strategical teams, how the product is being identified. So we are speaking about what are the components of sustainable agility, right? The first one is build an agile culture. That is where we are speaking about how Scrum teams are very, very important, and how can we build an agile culture that would help in sustainability. So then collaborative for innovation, as again we told, innovation is on the top-notch low. So we have to make sure that innovation is our priority and nowadays, what is happening for innovation is, initial days, innovation is only for leaders, right? They used to participate, architects used to participate, and they used to tell teams that this is what innovation is. But now, presently, the innovation is coming to the teams, and teams are innovating a lot of things. So how those innovated things are going into funding and again getting into the pilot project is another thing that the organizations are looking at, but innovations are very, very important for teams also. And involve customer. So there are many, many ways to involve customer. So especially from product design or understanding the requirement before the design till the product is going to the customer, and after that also, it is very, very important to involve the customer. There are many, many methods to involve the customers. The first method that we normally do is empathizing with the customer, right? The mind maps that we do. So that would help us to understand what the present state of the customer and what is the future state that they are looking at, and also based on the market trends, what we can suggest to the customer, how the technology is growing and what technologies we can use to give the better solutions to the customer. So involving the customer early and also throughout the entire execution of the project is very, very important.
Aparna, so I think we skipped a slide. That's okay. So as we are talking about the customer, right? Let's say you are a data analyst, right? So what is that on a day-to-day that you do?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Sandhya. Like being an analyst, right? So I normally work on the data. So what I would do is, like, I need a very efficient data. The accessibility and the efficiency of the data is very, very priority to me. When I say accessibility, having data at one source is very, very important to me. So I do the data analysis and I will provide certain very good content to the external customers. The content would be probably I would be presenting them in very good dashboards to the customers, but at the same time to produce the world-class content, I would definitely need the data without having any errors. At the same time, the accessibility should be easy so that time to market would be improving.
Okay, so while this is what you do, right, what is your current problem that you face?
As I am stressing on time to market, I am stressing on the efficiency. The major issue that I am seeing is a lot of manual efforts that I do as in today as an analyst, and I would want to reduce on my manual efforts. When I say manual efforts, the data is not at single place. I have to go to multiple places to fetch the data, and also to provide the dashboards. What I do is the efficiency of the data, right? The data is not right, whatever the data that I am getting in.
Understood. Okay, so just putting myself into your shoes and trying to understand, right? So your basic need is speed, time to market, right? So there are a lot of technologies that have come in. So we coming to the future state, right? Is it you are looking for a visually appealing dashboards with a lot of accessibility and data efficiency, correct?
Yes, absolutely right,
So
Sandhya.
will you be interested to partner with us during the development phase so that you are involved with us and you could provide us an early feedback as we go by? Would that help?
Definitely, I would love to do that so that that would help me, and if there are any changes also, I can let you know early ahead in time.
So this was just to get everyone to face that, the more you involve customer on empathizing to understand their problem statement. Very rightly said yesterday in one of the session by Sapna, right? So she was stressing, understand it from the customer point of view. Let's not develop something and then show them, but then take information from them and then develop. That is when the product would be sustainable, because that is what they want end of the day. So moving forward, while these are some important components, learn by experimenting is innovation, right? Change of org structure. So what in future slides, what we wanted to give an exposure to you all is, as Aparna rightly mentioned, at some point of time, innovation was only to a very senior leadership, right? Strategists or, architects. But we wanted to get to you a lot of very small tools, but very effective tools or, effective methods, let's say, that will help you achieve these components in a very efficient way. We'll dig through or we'll not get into every other tool that's mentioned here. We'll leave that as a food for thought for you to understand more how you can implement it in your teams. But we will walk through certain few components that will help you use it with your teams and make sure your teams interact better, communicate better, or ideate better.
Yeah, we are taking examples from liberating structures. Most of you must be aware of liberating structures. So these are very micro structures, very small, so that you can quickly adapt to them or quickly use them and get more outcomes from them, right? So one that underbuild agile culture, we have given multiple, but I would want to speak about appreciative interviews, right? So you have a team members, you know what are the strengths and weaknesses of your teams. So within your teams, going to the next team that is sitting next to you, you can do a quick appreciative interviews, right? So what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, how their weaknesses can be improved with your strengths, so or how their strengths will be helping your team in achieving your goals. Right, very, very simple technique, but it is very useful for the teams. We try with our teams, it is very, very useful. You can do that, that is appreciative interviews.
While we dig only into appreciative interviews, what listed here are some more techniques, like generative relationships. STAR is a very simple concept where you actually focus on separateness. Separateness means about diversity of different perceptions. Each of an individual from your group brings up a very different ideas. Make sure you dig deeper into all those ideas, right? And then tuning. Tuning is more about listening. Someone touched based upon, listening and hearing are two different things. Make sure you hear. There will be different challenges people will get in for discussions. Make sure you discuss on them. Action. Action is about acting upon different challenges, right? Do not go with the prejudgmental perceptions, but as a team, understand what you want to act about and reason to work together. In all these things, end of the day, you want to work together for a single common goal. So make sure these 4 areas are pretty clear so that teams will connect to a bigger goal of what they're doing. Again, these 2 are just an example. Again, not just this 4, there are a lot of liberating structures available. If any one of you didn't had an exposure to liberating structures yet, we really suggest you to read more through it. There are a lot that can help you as an Agile practitioners in organizing or facilitating a lot of events.
Yeah. Coming on to collaborate for innovation, I would speak about Panarchi or the last one, right? How you are understanding different part of a system influence, right? So this is speaking about system thinking. So as a team, we should have the entire system thinking. Not only your part of the code or your part of the functionality, you need to have the entire system thinking. So this is where we say that it is micro, meso, macro. The team, individual person, when it comes to team, it is a team together. When it is coming to organization, it is organization together, and then it is going to the entire culture of the organization. How, as an individual, you are going to impact the culture of the organization is very, very important. So this particular one is speaking about that, where as an individual, you should be having the systems thinking. Look beyond what you are doing today, right? Like what your functionality is, what your feature is, you go beyond that. Certain organizations, what they do is, they have their OKRs at the high level, at the strategical team level. They showcase to the teams from OKRs till the stories, right? What is that is coming down? So you know that your stories, how they are contributing to the bigger picture of the organization. That is what it is, right? So a story that is delivered by a single person is going to impact the outcome of the organization. So that is what we are speaking about, Panarchi. Every individual should be feeling accountable, and the person is delivering the value to the organization.
All right. So in involving the customer, I think we spoke a little already about involving the customer, but we'll just leave you with one example here of 2510 crowdsourcing, right? We all as Agile coaches, RTs or Agile practitioners, we tend to sometimes have to facilitate a larger crowds, right? 50, 100, whatever it is. But at that point, it becomes challenge for us on, how we engage the entire crowd together. So this is one such tool wherein you actually start by a single person. Give a minute, let them think about an ideation. This is what we are talking about. You have a bigger group. You want to talk about an ideas what each person have. So give them a minute to think about what their idea is. Now form them as a pairs. After form them as a pairs. Next you form them as 5 people, and then as a bigger group. Once they have, you actually have an idea written in a card, and then have them exchange the card, and as they exchange, have each person rank the idea in that card. What you're ranking is not your idea. You're ranking someone else's idea. So after, let's say, 3 rounds or 5 rounds, you collect a card and then you sum it all up. Whatever the card that gets a higher rank is one you are going to brainstorm about. That way you're actually engaging a very huge crowd on a single go. It's not that someone is feeling left out. So this is one tool that I felt really, really helpful. Like if we are doing a problem solving, we are doing a retrospection of a bigger project. So this is one way that you can engage an entire crowd together. So again, you can go through the rest of most of them.
Yeah, learn by experimenting, right? Like, again, this is what we need to look forward is, first one is trees, where we are looking at the problems or the something that will worsen your problem. Identify a part of code or a part of functionality that is worsening your problem. Instead of looking for solutions, you look for a problem that is going to worsen your entire feature, right? That is what we are looking for. And then you analyze that and try to mitigate such kind of risks that you are having histories, right? You are doing something differently than normally what you do. When you do something differently, your ideas would change, or your perspective on that particular problem would be changing, right? So that is what is learned by experiment. Over to you, Sandhya.
Yeah, so just one more very short thing, but what brief, right? That's something I liked a lot is, so just three questions. What? What is your problem, right? So what? So what happens if this happens? Next, ask another question, now what? Okay, now this is what it happened, now what you have to do. It's just thinking about three simple ways, right? So what brief is about thinking what in three different aspects of it.
So the next one that we are speaking, we kept two together here, change organization structure. See, again, this may not be within teams. We are speaking mostly about team agility, right? Changing organization structure may not be, again, team, but we will quickly see how the organization structure would be impacting the sustainability across. The last one will take 1 more minute. The last one is eco cycle planning, right? It is something that would help you to understand the portfolio. Rather, at portfolio level, you need to look for what are my SWOT, right? Like strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that are there for the portfolio. As a team, you should be also knowing at the portfolio level what are the SWOT, right? So that is what is very, very important. We spoke mostly about the sustainability for the team, how we discussed about technology, emerging technologies, AI and everything. But when it comes to team, it is the sustainability. It is the social, environment and economical connect and how we are doing that. These are all the tools that are there. Probably you can go and check them out. But this is what we have seen. But one more thing that we are seeing is autonomy. So we just want to speak about that centralized versus decentralized. What are the decisions that can be centralized versus what are the decisions that can be decentralized? We want as a team should be having certain decisions for themselves. The organization should leave certain decisions to teams. Then the teams would be having the major accountability and that will lead to their happiness. That would be improving the social connect, social responsibility of the teams. That would be improving the social sustainability.
So this is what we had where we wanted to give very different aspects about sustainability, not just one aspect, right? So we want you to carry this thought forward and even not just in your personal life, just give it a thought in, how we can maintain sustainability for all our future generations. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Aparna and Sandhya, for sharing your insights on sustainable agility. I request Mr. Ajay to please felicitate our speakers. Meanwhile, can I request all of you to please check your bags once again? Okay, she got her bag. Once clap for her as well, please. She got her bag back. Please take care of your bags, they are very important.